Jane Sprandel. Hi. I'm gonna unmute you.
Okay, there I am. Okay.
Hi.
I was driving home and I saw this poor dog out in the country. And so of course I stopped and I took its picture and it had a collar on. And so I told Reagan, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna stop and I'm gonna see if I can help this dog. And when I went to get out of my car, it was like, "Woo!" So I was like, okay, maybe you're not a nice boy. And I just wasn't gonna provoke him. So I just shared it on the Rantoul page, and then luckily some other people are like, have you shared this on the Lost Dogs? I'm like, no, but can you help me since I'm trying to drive?
Oh,
So
there's a Lost Dogs page. I like that.
yeah, yeah, Lost Pets of Champaign County.
Okay.
So yeah.
Whew.
So how was your day?
Good. We're recording this conversation, Jane, for all the public.
I did see that.
So I have to tell you that I had a fantastic day.
Good.
But that might, that might not be all there is to it. No, it was a good
Yeah.
day. We had the DD board meeting was held late today. It was held at 3:30, and
Oh,
why
okay.
we got to that is a really long story. It's
Yeah.
from a time before there was COVID. I had a big plan for the boards to be able to have one meeting together. It's very unusual for the boards to have a meeting together, and then the closer
Uh-huh.
we got, we kind of pulled the times apart, and then it was like, well, why move it to 8 in the morning? So we just got done with that. It was good. So how are you?
Good. I'm good. I went to Kankakee today, worked with my boss briefly. And then we went over my annual review,
Ooh,
which that's a conversation when we're not being recorded.
okay.
It was fine, but
See, we'll be having a
so
conversation later when we're not recording.
yes.
So I understand that there is a storm coming, and this makes people's internet a little wonky.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
Stephanie sent me the sheet where she keeps the motion, because she also lives out in the country where,
Oh,
like both of us, the
yeah.
internet could. So who knows what'll happen?
Mhm.
But anyway, I have the motion sheet in case
Okay.
we don't have her. So we're going to do
Yeah.
all of the votes as roll call votes, and um, we just to make the votes as friendly to the public as possible, given that we're
Yeah.
online and that it presents problems with access to the meeting.
Yeah.
And then in the future, I'll go into Brookings when we're having meetings and I'll be the
Yeah.
person present. But I didn't think it was safe to go today. Like there are cases
No.
very close to our office, but also because I've just been in Florida and was in contact
Right.
with people who weren't really being careful. So
Yeah.
I need to get a test and spend a few more days isolated before I go anywhere.
Yeah.
Anyway.
No, that's wise. Um, one of my coworkers is actually down in Florida right now. Unfortunately, that she had to attend a funeral down there, and so I asked her if she had to quarantine when she got back, and she's like, no. And not that I wanted to rat her out to my boss today, but I almost wanted to say what is our policy right now? Does she need to be quarantining? you
Oh,
know?
well, I don't.
Because there for a little while, if you did any traveling, General Mills was requiring you to quarantine. But I don't know, if that's still in the works
Right.
or if you have to only fly. I don't know.
And it's sort of, we don't have a policy. Like I think city of Chicago does, but I don't know if there's any local
Right.
policy about that. But just as a human being, I really don't think I could
Right.
with myself if I made somebody else sick. when I have the
Right.
option not to. So I'm trying to just
Mm-hmm.
be as safe as I can for right now. And then, I mean, we don't even understand this thing very well. So maybe I'm being too safe. I don't know.
Yeah.
But in the future, I'll be sure that I'm COVID free and I'll go to the
Yeah.
office, have the meetings, and then we'll be
Yeah.
fully in compliance.
Yay.
So-
Are you all having a private conversation?
But we are
No.
recording it for the public. So please join us.
Okay, I'm joining.
Yay. Yeah, so like be careful what you say because you're being recorded. I was gonna tell Lynn about my work review today, and I said, well, that's a conversation for later.
Well, I want to know this. Yeah.
I just
Well,
snuggled with the baby.
as I told Tony, there's good news and there's bad news. But no, it's all good. It's just how evaluations can be sometimes.
Mm,
The data does not reflect the effort in the person, and
right. That's right.
so I was a bit disappointed, and my manager was a bit disappointed to be like, well, this is what the data said, but this isn't what I feel. Like, well, thank you.
That's actually a culturally responsive way to ensure that people are not always punished based on the outcomes of numbers. So that's kind of cool that he recognized that.
Yeah. And actually, Shonda, something that you would think is really cool is General Mills is extremely friendly to all, races, all, you know, sexualities, everything. I mean, they're just very inclusive, and that is actually one of the corporate goals now is talking about allyship and things like that. And so we're actually having like a team meeting via Zoom in August. And so my manager had asked if at some point I would talk about like mental health and things like that, how it affects us like in our jobs and this and that. And so of course I'm like, well, do you want me to do that at the August meeting? And he's like, I mean, wait, it's up to you, but my boss is on that call. I'm like, I don't care. So he's like, well, see, that'll fit into the whole allyship thing of just inclusiveness and, recognizing other people's, uniquenesses and needs. And so General Mills is pretty cool about that. And I'm proud of that.
So they're a good company to work for.
Mm-hmm.
I have a funny. I get notes whenever people log into the Zoom meetings, and I have a note that someone went to the DDB meeting link, but I don't know who it was.
You can
Oh.
find out via email.
It's not showing me who's there. So usually the email will say who it is. Oh, I hope they make it over to this one though. That's important. Okay.
Lynn, do you want me to guard the chat box today?
I think we're probably okay. If it does get crowded, you can, but I don't expect a big crowd today.
Okay.
But yes, and also because we have a storm coming, so those of us who live in sensitive internet areas may end up kicked out of the meeting.
Is
So
it another bad storm again with hail?
Yes. Ping pong size up in Ford County.
Oh my God.
So it's coming south?
Wow.
I don't know for sure. I was just listening to the radio on my way in here. So
Okay.
Well, so that means, any of us could get bounced off this.
Yeah.
So we've done some behind the scenes preparation, to back each other up. And so Chandra, if you're available, if that role becomes critical, please jump in.
Okay.
And my husband just now finished hauling out the trees that he chopped up. So guess we're ready for round 2.
Yeah.
Chris, did you have any roof damage? We've been talking about roofs a lot lately, too.
No, we lucked out over here.
Good. Because you've dealt with this before when the rest of us got it easy.
Yep, I had a few branches, decent sized branches down in my yard, but that was it.
Okay.
We lucked out.
Good. Ooh. Well, wish us luck. I hope that the storm can wait till the meeting's over. But we can't keep the storm from coming, but maybe we can beg for time. I don't know how these things work, actually. Oh. Hi, Elaine.
Hello. Hi, everybody.
I love your books. I want to show you. I have my own. I just went to the internet to find an impressive bookcase. Do you like it? It's Harvard.
Beat.
Yeah, I don't really think you all need to see my books. So this is the truth.
Okay.
Okay.
So Stephanie, you prepared me for you to lose internet. I am also trying to send you right now the recording of the meeting that we just did, but it looks like it hasn't gone out. So I guess I just have to be patient today, and things are going to slow down. That's okay.
Hi.
Hi, are we going to have a quorum? Do you know?
Well, I hope so. I have not heard from anyone that they're not coming. Oh, actually, I did. Kathleen is not available. It's a different reason. She's got better equipment now and she can do Zoom meetings, but something else has happened. So otherwise, I didn't hear from anybody.
Well, we have 4 minutes.
Okay.
Hey, Reagan. Oops.
If it starts storming, I need to go leave and try to get all my cats in the house.
Oh.
They're all on the porch and they wouldn't come in.
They want to watch.
Anybody get hit by hail?
Yes. My cucumber vines were shredded.
Oh, yeah, our back porch was completely covered. It looked like wintertime.
Huh.
Tree limbs were down.
Hello?
We had one of our beautiful big trees fell over onto the neighbor's tree. So
Oh,
yeah. So
Oh.
Jesse chopped both of the bad parts up and painted the wounds. So hopefully the trees will survive, but he just finished hauling all of that off and now here comes another storm.
is it supposed to be a bad one tonight?
That's what Jane says.
Oh, no. Really?
Coming from the north, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think up in Ford County there's a tornado watch, and they're talking about ping pong size hail.
Oh,
Wow.
well, we already had snowball size hail.
Yeah.
Wow.
Let's see. We are a little short of board members at the moment, aren't we?
Yeah.
Are. God. Oh, just 3. Uh-oh.
We need
Mhm.
5, is that right?
Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah. Where is everybody?
I don't know.
Are the bars open?
Well, if you're outside, you're going to get blown away. And the tent. Hmm.
Well, I guess this is a great time for me to take a moment to brag. Julian already knows this, but yesterday, probably for the first time in my life, I wrote a 1-page policy paper. 1 page.
And it's very good too.
Oh, what is it about?
Well, it's about it's stuff that you all talk about all the time, like how to improve our crisis response systems to keep people with behavioral health conditions and DD out of jail, out of prison, out of the hospital. It's that general category. There are some things, specific things going on at the federal level that would be really helpful to our community. So it's really an advocacy statement. I want to share it with you all so bad because it's just 1 page, but I thought it's not relevant to your board meeting tonight, so I will just wait.
Okay.
Okay.
Well,
It's
good
relevant
for
to
you.
our board.
What's that?
It's relevant to our board.
I think that it's consistent with the values you all express.
Mhm.
Is it true, Julian?
I thought so.
Okay, good.
What
I
is
think you
it?
should circulate it whenever you want.
All right.
What is it? Who is it destined for? What
It's-
did you write it for?
It's for NACBID, the National Association for
Oh.
Behavioral Health, and we have meetings next week, and we also have meetings of National Association of Counties, which has more like 3,000 members. So
Mhm.
it'll support their work too.
Well, good.
Yeah. So okay, yeah, I'll send it out as soon as we're done with all this important business.
I think we now have a quorum, right? 2, 3, 4.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Looks like Kyle is the
Oh.
chair of the meeting.
Joe here.
I don't see him. I haven't heard from him, so
Did you trick me into sharing a meeting?
I didn't. I didn't mean it that way. Yeah, you do have a quorum. Hey.
Are you expecting Joe?
I just texted to see if he's coming, and I haven't heard back from him. And I haven't heard that he's not coming.
Mhm.
But I think I'm gonna hit you all with some, like with magic. Maybe. Maybe this will work.
Oh, you're sharing your screen.
So, and Stephanie created this document. I tried to make it bigger, but let's see. Maybe that's too big. This is all to help make all of our votes more public friendly.
Oh,
Nice. Good work, Steph.
Thank you, Stephanie.
I've always used it just for myself. I didn't know that it would have to be shared.
Are you okay with me sharing it?
Yeah.
It looks great. Okay.
Oh, it does.
but you're gonna leave it up on the screen forever?
Well, I think just whenever, like, so now for roll call, and then all of the votes are supposed to be roll call. I didn't know that. When we do these online meetings, in order to make sure that they're as clear as possible to the public.
That was actually only made official on June 12th. So we were only out of compliance the June meeting.
Thank you for doing the research.
How did we solve the problem of a person physically present?
Well, it really seems clear that it should be me, or if we had legal counsel, and I don't think that it's safe for me to be at Brookings right now because I've just been in Florida.
Oh,
And I was there with people from Atlanta.
Oh, gee.
I think it's ridiculous given that we've got technology.
Yeah. What's the point of a person being there physically?
Yeah,
Is there a point to that?
no.
I think it probably just means in order to be available to the public, right? If this is the place we normally have meetings. I'm not sure. We could sure ask for more info, but
Well, let's not worry about it. Let's just move on here.
It doesn't make any sense since the building closes at 4:30. No,
well, that's true.
you couldn't be available to the public anyway.
Well, that's true. That is right. Okay. Yay. So we're not there.
And honestly, I don't understand how safe it would be for one person to be in that building till 7:30 at night, especially in the winter time when it's, gets dark at 5. I mean, I don't know how many people are working late at Brookings, but I always get the feeling that it's not a whole lot.
Well, I'm a real risk taker, as you can tell from my vacation choice.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
You watch the rules.
I assume the issue is if somebody should show up, someone would be able to tell them something, but why not put up a sign? But don't expect logic. Okay.
Hard to know. All right.
Are we waiting for Joe or is Kyle going to start the meeting?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I guess we could send a search party after the meeting. but we might as well get started, and if he does show up, we can just take over. So I call this meeting to order. For your roll call.
Susan Fowler? Susan?
Here, sorry.
Tom Moore?
There.
Elaine Valencia?
Here.
Kyle Patterson?
Here.
Julian Rappaport?
Here.
Jane Sprandel?
Here.
Kathleen Worth Couch? John Paul Youakim? Joe Omo Asagie?
Did I do it right, Stephanie?
Oh, I'm not watching. Yes.
All
Yeah.
right. Yay.
All right. Citizen input or public participation. Is there anybody who is here for that?
I think we have to approve the agenda, don't we?
Not yet.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I think you're right, but like that's number 5 on the list. And
Oh,
honestly,
okay. Go right ahead.
made up,
All
so,
Switch those in the future.
yeah, I think it's supposed to be like after the roll call, but I don't know exactly what the proper process is, and like it doesn't matter.
I only said that because of the graph that was up there had the agenda next item. So I didn't even look at it. So, okay, sorry. Just go on. Ignore me.
Looks like nobody for public participation. I blame Julian.
Pardon me?
I said there's a very high-pitched noise.
Yeah, that was my phone texting me.
I need approval of the agenda.
So move.
Tom, second.
Second.
Second, Jane. For discussion, Lynn, you had discussed there's some interest in adding a discussion item for the expo. Is that accurate? Do we want to do that right now?
There is one board member who might be interested in adding that. That was from a conversation I had with Jane. Yeah.
I think if we could add another bullet point on there, I can just go over the latest meetings we've had in regards to going forward with the expo.
That could be in board-to-board reports.
Okay.
I mean, like I said earlier, doesn't really matter. The rules are kind of.
I mean, we wouldn't be it wouldn't be an action item. It'd be more like, let's discuss it. And my only fear is if we go to board, people be like, come on, I'm hungry. I got to go.
Okay.
My TV show's on. So, yeah.
Yeah. How about we, do we want to put it in after agency information? Like after the new business? Does that work?
Yeah, I think so. So it'd be like 9B or something. Well, 9.5.
Yeah, 9.5, 9B. Either way.
Yeah. I'll try to make it brief, but I just want other people's opinions besides my own since I'm on the committee. I just don't want to speak for all of us.
Mm-hmm. So I'll consider that a motion by Jane. I need a second to amend that.
Second.
Second, Julian. Any discussion of the amendment to the agenda? Seeing none, all those in favor, say
We're gonna
aye.
have to do a roll call.
Oh, yeah.
Tom,
Yeah. All right, roll call.
Tom Moore,
Yes.
Elaine Valencia,
Yes.
Kyle Patterson,
Yes.
Julian Rappaport,
Yes.
Jane Sprandel,
Yes.
John Paul Youakim,
Yes.
Susan Fowler,
Yes.
All right. President's comments. Joe isn't here. I don't really have anything specific. Lynn, Executive Director's comments.
Gosh, I had a lot of comments that I wanted to, but I think I wore myself out at the DD board meeting. So we do need to cancel the in-person expo. That's one thing for sure. There's no way by October 10th that we can ensure safety for 2,000 visitors, many of them high-risk people. So that's done, and the discussion Jane will bring us into is an update on top of all that. I was at a couple of interesting meetings before this one today. One was economic predictions for Illinois, and so there was the bad news that even if, even though there might be some good news coming our way, maybe property taxes are probably going to suffer in 2022 and 2023. So our funds will probably be okay for this year and next year, but we should, maybe think about what we're going to do if there are declining property taxes, because there may be opportunities for the agencies to take advantage of from federal and state programs which are being innovated right now, and it might be better than relying on our funds in the long term anyway. So that's coming. And then the good news was that for counties, it does look like this federal relief package has got some momentum. This is a relief package which includes $145 billion for counties. It goes directly from Treasury to each county based on population. That won't help us, but the county, Champaign County, has a very great shortfall right now in their budget, and so it would help with that, and that's for all of us. So that's really all. I mean, we've got plenty of business to discuss tonight, so if you want to hear more from me, you'll have opportunities.
Okay, so new business. Our first item is the MHFA training update. Do we have somebody here to speak on that, or is that staff?
That's Chandra. Do you want to talk about that, Chandra?
Sure. I just wanted to, it's pretty much self-explanatory. You all have made an investment in ensuring that I was able to maintain my youth mental health certification. And what was added to it was I am now an adult certified mental health and first aid instructor. They've just updated the curriculum, and I am actually taking one of my last courses to complete dual certification, where there will be blended learning, and it will also be virtual, be able to be a virtual platform. There have been some major changes as far as the youth mental health first aid training. It is now down to 6.5 hours. So those of you that have gone through it before, it's now 6 hours. And the adult is now inclusive of having a 2-hour self-paced course, and then you can do 4 hours in an in-person, or you can do it virtually. So I just wanted to give you some updates about that. And in the future, I would like for us to think about how we want to, as a community, possibly partner with the Regional Office of Education to consider being a teen mental health first aid site. What is different about that approach is that it actually has to be a school or a youth serving agency that's actually doing it. It's not like a bunch of instructors that are in the community. This actually has to be a particular site, and they have to commit to a certain amount of young people that are actually trained throughout the year. So everything else is pretty much self-explanatory within the memo, and I'll entertain any questions, comments, or concerns. Elaine?
I just had a question about the youth part of it, which of course I think is a great idea. And there were, I don't know if there still are, but there were groups already in high schools. I know my daughter was one of them who were trained, I mean, in this kind of way, but not this particular program. So I think there must be, I hope there are resources out there now of students who have, you know, been interested in that and committed to that, because my memory of the way her group worked is that students were more likely in some cases to approach a peer, and then that peer could link them with services. So
Yes.
yeah, so there's kind of a base out there, I hope.
Yes, there is a few models that are out there looking at advocacy, but this is actually looking at signs and symptoms that, and being able to recognize that through teen mental health first aid. And so I think it's a little bit more of a more comprehensive approach.
Yeah.
Than the informal supports where people may not have known, but they actually give you the tools to be able to assess for a person that may be at risk or harm of a mental health crisis or substance use.
Yeah.
Challenge.
I don't remember, you know, the breadth of their training. I'm just, but yeah, it would have been a different model, but there was kind of a tradition. I know at Centennial, a group that from year to year was trained how they were trained. So I hope there's still kind of a base of, you know, people who, students, and a knowledge of that help in the schools.
Yeah, and then they also, I know the program that we fund through Rattle the Stars, they also do a youth advocacy training program as well.
Good idea.
Thank you. Any other questions, comments, or concerns? Yes, John.
I was just wondering, has anyone in the rural community reached out to set up, you know, training for either youth or adults in their area, so that once you're able to do all the training for them, we can get the ball rolling?
Sure. So no one has reached out to me directly regarding the youth training, but there are about 14 instructors that were trained through Carl to actually begin looking at rural areas. But I believe it's just adult right now, mental health first aid, because they were targeting the higher suicide rate for farmers. And so the youth component was not a part of that. However, when I first was trained in 2015, there was Project Aware that had instructors that were actually housed in the rural areas. So rural areas in Champaign County. What I'm concerned about, I do not know if they maintained their certification. Just because there were a lot of cancellations, not enough interest in the classes. So I know for a while, I had several classes that canceled just because people weren't able to attend those classes. It was kind of a lull for a couple of years, but since the incidents that have picked up, and then addressing the stigma of mental health, I think it's now starting to pick up again. And we're getting more people actually trained as first aiders. They just maybe almost a year, 6 months ago, there are 2 million people now that are mental health first aiders that have been trained.
That's good to hear. Thanks.
Are there any other questions?
Chandra, I wanted to ask, you'd mentioned that you think that we should pursue a program that would be a coordination with the Regional Office of Education. You said, is that a teen program?
Yes, it's teen mental health first aid. So it's actually teaching teens.
So when you say team, you mean like a sports team, not like teenagers?
TEN, teen. teenagers, like
Yeah.
teenager mental health first aid. So it's for teenagers, and it's actually teaching teenagers the skills and learning about the action plan and how to implement it among their peers.
Okay. Because the current program that you do is that's specifically for adults, right?
For adults assisting youth.
Adults. Uh-huh.
And then adults assisting other adults.
Yeah, I attended that one.
Yeah, and then there can be like several different modules. And then you have the teens, which has to be very specific at an actual site. Instead of just me becoming an instructor, I would have to, in order to become an instructor, we would have to partner with the organization to actually ensure that I was a part of a rotation. And they also have to be at least juniors in high school to actually take the course.
Okay, cool.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody else have any questions about the mental health first aid? All right. Next on the agenda is a contract amendment. Anybody from the staff want to comment on this?
This is Mark. This is just kind of keeping the board up to date as far as where we stand with amendments. A lot of them came out of the May board meeting, and so it's part of our amendment policy to keep the board updated as far as what amendments are in process. In some instances, it might require action by the board on a particular amendment, but that's not the case this evening. There is at the back half of the report some discussion of future amendments related to some of the contracts that were prorated, and those eventually will be once the staff are hired by the Promise Healthcare two programs at Promise Healthcare, and then at Races, once the staff are hired, we'll be issuing amendments, or actually in Races' case, the actual contract. So, but it's information only, and just kind of keeping the board apprised of the action that's been taken.
Thanks. Did anybody have any questions or comments on the memo? I guess a lot of this has to do with the contract amendments related to flexibility around COVID. Is that accurate? Do we have any sort of idea how many of the programs have had to adjust dramatically? I mean, obviously every entity in all of societies adjusted to some degree, but as far as something that would need that amendment, I guess. Does that make
we've not had any specific request related to that language at this point. We have had the updates from the agencies as far as where they stand in adjusting to COVID and how they're delivering services. Some of this has been done during the rewrites or revisions to contracts. I actually had an email today with Muhammad Area Youth Club about their BLAST program, which was an extended a program that from PY20 extended through 21, and that she already knows she's making some changes for the fall. So those would be incorporated into the revised program plan that you would be doing for 21. So we are hearing some things about that, but nobody has requested anything, any specific action in relation to this special provision or this language in the contract. Lynn, did you have anything to add on that?
No, I think we're just still in a moment where it's hard to make a decision because we don't really fully understand where things are headed. And I think people are still trying to make adjustments to the programs, you know, like reasonably within the scope of services, but, you know, we needed to have something in order to make it easier to trigger changes. And I think like we would be talking to the board about those changes, hopefully.
All right, if nobody else has any comments or questions, the next agenda item is the races counseling contract.
I think this is me again, this item. As part of the application process and the decision process, Races had applied for the counseling program to add a therapist. The board would be funding 2/3 of that position, and then use of Illinois Attorney General funds that Races was not in, did not have a current contract for, but was waiting notification of those funds to round out the position, to fill out the balance of the full-time position. They have since learned that those funds will not be forthcoming and have requested that in lieu of those funds not being available to the agency, using other funds that they do have on hand. And so because the way the application was structured and the decisions that were recommended and approved by the board, we do need to approve the request to use a different source of funds to support the position, to fulfill, to make it a full-time position.
Anybody have any questions?
I have a question. I'm trying to follow what this said. I believe you're saying, or whoever wrote this is saying, that the alternate source of funding would mean that it couldn't be, the staff time could not be dedicated to residents of Champaign County. So I'm trying to figure out, what does that mean in terms of the services that we're purchasing and what does it mean for Champaign County?
Well, it means that 2/3 that the mental health board supported time would be obviously serving Champaign County residents, but the other source of funds means that the time, the staff time that would be supported with the VOCA funds would have to serve people from outside Champaign County because of the nature of the funds. So it's possible that they would be used to support Champaign County residents in addition to the mental health board. But if somebody else presents from outside Champaign County, they would also be used for that. It looks like Adelaide has her hand up, so you could speak to that.
And also Susan Fowler has her hand up too.
Okay.
Adelaide, did you want to speak?
Yes, I just wanted to clarify that what Mark says is accurate, and these VOCA funds cannot be limited to Champaign County residents. But I will say that of our, in the past, our counseling clients have been, between 85–90% Champaign County, just because of the distance. So our other service areas are up in Ford County, and we have a counselor in Rantoul and also in Douglas County. So we have a couple of counseling clients from Douglas County, but not many. So we would certainly always be more than the 2/3 that your board funds. And we could add that to our reports, the residents, and point out the percentages.
Anybody else have any comments? Oh,
Susan has her hand raised.
Well,
Kyle.
I assume that it will be easier to hire a full-time person. And so having the VOCA funds will make it more feasible to hire someone than hiring an individual at 67 or 75% time. So this seems like a really reasonable solution from my perspective. I would recommend voting in favor.
Could I clarify what we're voting on? So this was originally a position that was supposed to be partially funded by a Attorney General grant. That grant's not coming through, and instead it would be funded by VOCA. And so is that at a smaller rate? Like is VOCA covering less than what the Attorney General covered?
No, the amount of funds that would be made available would basically replace what would have been provided through the Illinois Attorney General funds. The reason this is coming back to the board is because as part of the decision process in May, the award of the mental health board money was contingent upon races receiving the Illinois Attorney General funds. Those funds are not coming for, have not been awarded, will not be awarded to the agency. So in order to comply with the contract, a different source of funds has to be used. And so we're basically bringing it back to allow for a different source of funds to be used to fully support the position. The original application specifically identified Illinois Attorney General funds as being the source of the balance of funding for the position.
And the reference to serving residents outside of Champaign County, is that something that is unique to VOCA but was not a factor when it was going to be funded by the Attorney General?
I'd have to defer to Adelaide on that.
No, the Attorney General funds would have been meant to serve all of our counties as well.
And Adelaide, could you, I don't know if you mentioned this earlier, what's the percentage of your current clients that live within the county? Do you know?
For therapy, for one-on-one therapy, it varies, but it's usually our counseling clients are usually the 95 because of the distance. And we do have people from northern Champaign County and Ford County get counseling in Rantoul.
Adelaide, you were breaking up a little bit. Did you say 95%?
It's between 85, 90, 95.
Okay, thanks.
It varies, yeah.
And I guess if we had residency concerns, it seems like more than 2/3 of the clients are within the county, are county residents. So I think that concern is, I mean, I think that sort of take care of any sort of concern we might have had with that. Does anybody have any questions or comments? Right. And we need to vote on this. So
Need to make a motion.
Yeah, so we basically approve, deny, or hypothetically we could amend. I guess I need a motion for a decision. Susan.
I move to approve Grace's request to substitute VOCA funds for the Illinois Attorney General funds as the balance of funds necessary to establish the therapist position.
I second.
What is that? John, second. All right. Any discussion? All right, roll call.
Jillian Rappaport,
Yes.
Jane Sprandel,
Yes.
John Paul Joachim,
Yes.
Joe Omo Osagie,
Yes.
Susan Fowler,
Yes.
Tom Moore,
Yes.
Elaine Palencia,
Yes.
Kyle Patterson.
Yes. All right. Next is agency information. Is there anybody from any agencies that want to speak to the board about any updates or announcements, comments? All right, not seeing any hands or anybody jumping up. All right, so I think this was the spot that we said that we would discuss the expo. If Jane, do you want to?
Sure. So obviously, you know, it's decided we probably would not be doing a October 10th event in person. So we thought of plan B, which would be to do it as a virtual event. Up in Chicago, they have I believe it's called the Abilities Expo. They ran that a few weeks ago. Some people tuned in to check that out. To be honest with you, I've had some concerns about doing it as a virtual expo. Again, I'm kind of a novice, but a few of my concerns were accessibility for people who possibly have hearing or sight issues. Sometimes literacy issues if things are written. I was afraid that could be a hardship for some of the individuals tuning in. And then you get on to internet connectivity. Do they have the technology? So I was really stewing over this. Is this the best way to do it? Especially because we've such a great reputation of such a great event. I don't want us to kind of flub it up just because it's new and things like that. So Jim and Barb have put a lot of time into researching things, trying to think, oh, we could have, you know, interpreters for this, we can have that for that. So they've done an astonishing job, you know, trying to look at, you know, covering all of our bases. But there again, I'm still concerned of there's always something that's going to pop up when you do something new. And one thing that I shared that I was a little concerned about, and I said I didn't want to throw, you know, the board card out, but I also have to be protective of our staff. You know, I'll use, you know, Chandra as an example. You know, if we have, you know, an equality issue or something like that, and they turn to her, that takes her away from some of her daily duties. And we know that our staff is working extraordinarily hard right now based on the pandemic. So I didn't want us to rely on the staff to kind of help when these things popped up. So that was one of the things I also pointed out, you know, down the road, you know, we got to think, you know, some of these folks might need vacation time, even if it's just some R&R at home as we're stuck in a pandemic and can't travel to the beach. So the vibe I got was that people were glad, maybe relieved that I shared my concerns. I kept saying, I truly am a nice person. I truly want this to go off without a hitch, but here's my concerns. And I think we need to talk about the elephant in the room. And then as I kind of opened it up, some other people joined in. And I'll just be very frank and honest. You know, Jim and Barb are really holding on to this because it is their baby. This is their project. And the idea of saying, you know what, maybe we just can't do it, is a hard pill for them to swallow. I know that we had a couple other people. Dylan was an individual who pointed out, you know, if we don't do something, that's 2.5 years before we could do the expo, because we're looking at fall of 2021 before we would potentially do an in-person one. Because the staff has requested, let's not do a spring event just because that's when we do all of our grants. So that's a wise, you know, request. So again, this is not something that we can vote on. It's not something I'm asking us to vote on. I guess I would like some feedback of, you know, what do you guys think about doing a virtual disabilities expo? So
Susan has her hand raised, Kyle, in the chat box.
Well, my immediate reaction is that some of the issues that you brought up, Jane, are really issues for the executive director to address, and not for a board member, because they deal with staff and staff time allocations. And I appreciate the fact that you brought them up, but really that's not a board member's issue. It's the director's issue, or the associate director's issue, or the staff's issue. Secondly, I would say that as someone who learned a great deal the first time I went to the Disability Expo, as a parent of a young man with disabilities that crossed a number of categories and made it hard to define, I would hate to put it off for 2.5 years. I have been a part of many virtual conferences this year, and many of them have been resource fairs or information. And there are ways to pull it off. And I think that ultimately this is a decision also where we need input from the executive director regarding the amount of staff time. But I would certainly recommend that we not quickly dismiss the option of having it virtually. The school districts have provided many families with Chromebooks. I can't guarantee that everybody who has a disability has access to the internet, but many times it's the families that are looking for this information to support their adult children or younger children. So I just think we have to watch our boundaries here.
Tom had his hand raised, and then Jane.
Yeah, I think that this event has become pretty popular over the years, and I'm not sure it would do us any favor to cancel, to not do it, because I think the first time you do that, it becomes easier to not do it another time. And each time you don't do it, you're going to lose more and more people who are coming to it, and they've done a great job over the years making this work. And I suspect that until we get something different, until we get something better, this is what we're stuck with. There's no way, we're not going to be able to do any in-person stuff for a long time. And I think we need to try to take advantage of what there is available to us and pull it off the best we can. It would be too bad that some people, for all the reasons you explained, couldn't take advantage of it. But I think we have too many people who can take advantage of it. We shouldn't not have it because of that. And maybe we'll figure out some other way to include those people who aren't resourced enough to do it. But I don't think it's wise to not do it. The history of it is too great.
Yeah, Jane.
Okay.
Okay, so I guess I should rewind just a tad bit. I didn't necessarily make these decisions all on my own. Lynn and I have talked about this in great detail. I've spoken to Kim. Stephanie has been involved. Chandra through, the last few weeks, months, So this wasn't based on just what Jane wanted. This was based on me talking to staff. One point that I did ask Jim, he was talking about how if our vendors, if they could not figure out how to do something, we would assist them. They wanted to do a pre-registration of the event, which I think is a great idea. But if people have problems registering, there's someone they can call. And so I said, well, who is that someone? And Jim's like, well, I can do it. And then a few times, it just seemed like several times Jim's like, well, I can do it. I'm like, I just don't want you to overextend yourself. So that's my concern. And again, I mean, it's great if Barb and Jim can handle all those things that pop up. Barb did admit she's not a tech savvy person, so I'm afraid the tech stuff would have to probably be sent to Jim. And that's fine if he'd like to take it on. But these were just some conversations that were brought up. And again, maybe we have board members who are more than happy to say, hey, if people are having a hard time registering, here's my phone number, or here's my contact. I work full time, so I can't be necessarily able to do that. So So I guess in my defense, this wasn't all on me saying, this is what Jane thinks we should do. This was based on, I'll be honest, I was protective of our staff because this isn't a huge important thing, but I don't want to overdo it for our staff. So that's just my opinion.
Susan had her hand raised, and then Joe had his hand raised.
I appreciate what you've said, Jane, and I didn't mean to jump on you. I just think that we have to be careful in terms of the history of the expo and some of the issues that Tom has raised. And actually, if it's an issue of doing it or not doing it, I'd like to hear directly from the staff, not from a board member. I think you're our liaison and representative to that group, and that's very important. But I don't think we have enough information yet to make a decision, and I really would like to hear the leader of the staff and what he or she or other members of the staff think. So that's all I've got to say. Thanks.
Joe?
He's muted.
He's muted. Can you unmute him?
Am I on now?
Yeah.
Yeah, you and
okay. Okay, thank you. So part of what I was trying to say was that, I mean, I appreciate Jane sticking up and kind of putting staff concerns into play. However, this is a conversation that we all need to have, because even doing something virtually is going to be it's going to be different, and could be difficult for us to pull off, and it could be a lot of man hours also. However, it's part of a conversation. Can we have the conversation, and can it be done before October? Is it October 10th? So those are things that we need to take into consideration. And Jane, I think you're bringing up those issues that we need to. The community looks forward to this. So can we do it virtually, and can we do it well? That's all I got.
All right. Anybody else have any comments or questions?
Elaine had her hand up.
Yeah, just a couple of things. One is that I think we should let people say, if they can do it, then let them do it, and not try to say to them, no, you can't do it, or it's too much for you. So I think people need to own it or not on their, individually, what their jobs are. But the other thing is, always, in all of the, you've probably noticed, in all the transitions that I've been in from groups that go on Zoom, you pick up some people who couldn't ever get to meetings, so you'll pick up people who can't ever get to the expo. And frankly, the way the parking has been going over there, I don't know that I'll bring my son again, because we end up wheeling from way the heck out at the edge of the parking lot, and cars whizzing and all of that. So there will be people that will be able to tune in online who wouldn't come, who for one reason or another wouldn't be able to negotiate getting to the building. And so I think we should think about that too. That's all.
Anybody else have any comments or questions?
Do you want me to narrate the staff experience?
Yeah.
So we presented a briefing memo last month with where we were at last month. A lot has happened. In fact, it's almost every single day is dominated by meetings or discussions about the expo. So we've put in a lot of time. The memo included, Chandra had done some research and found a product called Huva and gotten the price. Some board members from the DD board were very concerned about accessibility, and I started getting phone calls between their meeting and your meeting. I spent all that day on the phone listening to concerns about accessibility, like about getting sued for accessibility issues, and just like also, you know, the ethical responsibility to be as accessible as possible. Somebody even mentioned language access, which I was glad to hear, because we're not doing a lot to be accessible to speakers of other languages. So I'm glad that came up, but the concerns were really pretty loud. So then we had a meeting with Susan Draymond-Weiss from the University of Illinois, from Dres, and an interpreter to talk about what would be required to make a virtual meeting, regardless the venue, regardless of the platform, to make it work for people who have hearing impairment. And we're spending a lot of time in these discussions, but importantly, I'm asking people, what's it going to cost? And so far, I've got no information about what it's going to cost to transition to a virtual platform. I do have the price of the platform that Chandra researched, and then one that Jim and Barb researched after that. It's a little bit different. It's about twice as much money. But I still don't have any idea the cost that it's going to take to make everything accessible. And I've asked for that for a while. And the steering committee meeting was, I think, yesterday. And apparently a lot of steering committee members are concerned about being able to pull this off. Generally, the expo, while this is a very important event sponsored in the main by the DD board and the mental health board, you put all the money into it. For all these years, most of the details have been negotiated by that steering committee. So I was waiting to hear from them, and they were very negative as a group about doing this virtually. So I had also started about a month ago with exactly what Elaine just said. I have been hearing from people for years about the unsafe sidewalks, the lack of parking, the difficulty with the crowd itself, how much people would benefit from being able to do this in a little bit more private way, like a virtual expo or a website. So, thinking, wow, we could reach a lot of people through a virtual platform. How exciting, let's develop it. And I have not really made any progress toward making that a reality. Cost is one issue, and I'm sorry to say that I don't have a total cost yet for what this would take. It may well be within the budget that we've already got for an expo. But the other issue is the manpower to pull it off. The expo really does rely on all those steering committee volunteers and then a cadre of other volunteers to actually execute it. It's not just our staff, but we always end up being part of it. So I was actually more concerned about, do they have the manpower from the steering committee? And the answer I learned yesterday was no. So where we're at is there are a lot of different ideas that we can explore that are like partway there. Like we can make the website better with videos. That's something we're working on. We could try small expo related events, but there's this concern about us being sued if they're not fully accessible. And because we haven't figured out how to do that, I would like to take a step back from this. I mean, I appreciate the support for the wonderful annual event that we have been having for 13 years, but this is not a choice that anyone wanted to come to. Canceling the in-person event, I've put it off as long as possible, but it just doesn't seem, I mean, it's not up to us, but then developing the virtual event also looks really, really tricky. And we've been in the weeds for a month and haven't made any progress.
Lynn, you said the manpower on the steering committee wasn't there for, I didn't catch what it wasn't there for. It's like there wasn't enough.
To execute a virtual expo in the way that it's so far been conceived. Mm-hmm. There could still be a way to do it that they just haven't gotten to it yet. I mean, Jim and Barb are not tech people. They're like trying to figure this out with no background in it. So, and they've done a wonderful job of like really looking into it for us and trying to figure it out. But it's
Kyle Julian had his hand raised, and then Jane.
Julian.
Okay, so I don't have an answer. I just have a question. is it possible to think about this in a completely different way? That is to drop what we're used to.
Yes.
Forget about that and plan some event that would be feasible to be done virtually, but it wouldn't try to emulate the exact things that are done when it's been live, but rather than simply drop it, plan some sort of collective event that would feasibly be handled online. So that's my idea. I'm wondering if that's within the realm of consideration, that's all.
Jane?
There's my unmute. One question was, what kind of help did the steering committee feel they couldn't give? I think that goes back to, you know, if someone needs me to do sign language for them, I'm not able to do that. I'm not able to interpret into Spanish or French. Those were the things that I think as a group, you know, we were concerned, how are we going to be able to help that? Julian had questioned about a different look of it. I think that's kind of what Lynn was alluding to. You know, I said, you know, we have the bones of a really good web page. You know, maybe we just need to put a little time and effort and money into increasing the website where people can go and use that more as a resource. Do some, you know, like spotlight videos of different vendors, things like that. So it is a mini, you know, expo thing, but it's something that's live or, you know, available all the time. So I'm just trying to think of other things that, you know, we just felt like, I mean, I think they said that the Chicago thing was planned in 6 weeks, and, you know, we were at 9 weeks right now. It's still, again, my opinion, I think it's a lot. They did toss around the $5,000 price tag, but what I'm fearful is, as we learn to make these accommodations, is they're going to be like, well, to do that, that's an extra $250. Oh, to do that, that's an extra $1,000. And again, maybe money's not an issue here, but I'm hesitant, and they're excited to work with us, which I think is great. But then that also says to me, maybe they don't have the experience to work with some of our needs. So
Tom had his hand raised, Susan, and then Joe.
Okay, I'm still back to, I guess, Susan's original comment about keeping this going. But as I hear Lynn speak, if these folks feel like that they don't have the skills or they don't have the human resources and they're a little reluctant to do it, they're not confident about it. And I guess what Elaine is also saying, if they can do it, do it. They can't, they can't. Maybe we just say, Lynn doesn't sound that excited about it. Maybe this is not the year to pull it off in any event. And so if you were coming to us, Lynn, as this being an issue to vote on, then that would be different. I would know what my vote is. But just as a discussion, it's still up in the air to me one way or the other, and I could vote either way on it.
Susan?
Right, I agree. It's a discussion item and we're not anywhere close to a motion or a vote, and I wouldn't want to have one today. I think we're also being a little narrow in thinking that it's got to be one day, it's got to be in October, and that perhaps, as Jane alluded to, there are other ways of doing it, a website with videos, etc. This week, I normally would be in Washington, D.C. for a meeting that would involve about 300 people. 1,500 of us are online at the meeting. And it's devolved down to 1.5 hours per day over 2 weeks. Not a problem. Now, none of us have disabilities or speak other languages. So, you know, there's some issues that I would say are different. But there are a host of different formats that are being used across the country to substitute for in-person meetings. And perhaps the issue for our planning committee is that we've held them to this October date, and perhaps they could think more broadly than that. But again, for discussion purposes, my reaction is, let's not drop it because it's hard. Let's continue to explore, and I'm not tied to October. So that's all I have to say. Thanks.
Joe?
Okay, can you hear me now? My bad, I can't see anything.
Yeah, you're good.
Okay, good. Going back to what Julian and what has already been said, I'm trying to reiterate that it doesn't have to be one day. It doesn't have to be the same thing. We are going to be hopefully flexible enough to see that there are many different ways to have an expo. I mean, I'm going to be teaching class this semester, and I'm not much for teaching online, but I know I'll probably be teaching more as a hybrid course, and that is not something I'm looking forward to, but I know if I'm going to teach, I will teach a hybrid. And there are many different ways to hybrid it. I mean, Julian talked about it, and Susan has talked about it. There are many ways in which we can do an expo, and it doesn't have to be just one day. It could be a week of expo. It could be several weekends of expo, of highlighting different aspects of what the expo has done in the past. So, and we're not making a decision today. Hopefully this is an ongoing conversation that we have with the DD board and with the planners also about what we can do and how we can do this thing. But that's what I have to add here. Thank you.
Jane, did you want to make another comment?
Yes. So as far as the original plan was to have over 4 Wednesdays, run it from like noon to 1:30, I believe. And then they decided, due to the need of things like that, we needed to do it all in one day. So that idea was 2 weeks ago or whatever, that we would do it over a series of Wednesdays, I think they chose. And then they said, no, let's do it on the 10th as a one-day event because the logistics of that's so much better. Like,
Did you
okay.
say because was that the interpreters? That was the barrier? Okay.
Yes, I think so. Because they want to be able to have some live chat, and to have a live chat during like a Zoom or something like that, you have to have people on call to do that. And that was their concern. And as far as, yes, we have plenty of time to talk about this, but that's going to require a special board meeting because we need to make a decision by August 1st is what Jim is needing to do. So there's that too.
Joe, are you raising your hand again, or is it just still up?
I forgot to put my hat down. I'm sorry.
All right. Does anybody else have any comments? Tom? No? You just put your hand up right now? No reason?
Oh, yeah, I was just coming off.
All right. I guess, I mean, this is obviously, it's a very difficult situation. This is our new normal. And I think that either way that we do it, the event is going to be inaccessible to an extent that I don't think any of us are satisfied with. But the reality is that with this new world we live in, it's not that we have imperfect choices. A lot of times we have only bad choices. Right now, you know, school boards across the country are making completely bad choices. And I mean, if you watch the news, you know, the virus isn't going away. And the reality is that the population that this event is for is a population that is very disproportionately. So I mean, this is just kind of a you know, a terrible scenario, and I don't know if there is, you know, something that can be done that can make the event as accessible as, you know, we strive for. And the reality is that we're in phase 4, and that's a 50-person max for in-person meetings. We don't get to phase 5 until there's a vaccine. We could be on phase 4 for multiple years. And the reality is large events are not really a thing anymore. And I think that's something that we have to sort of recognize. And this is our new world. Zoom meetings are, you know, the new normal. And I mean, it is unfortunate that there is a technology divide, but that's kind of the reality that we're stuck with. It's like, you know, options of only bad options. And that's kind of where I'm at. I just, you know, this is, it's tough, but I do think that there's a positive aspect of this. Thank you, Elaine. That was a really good point about how there will be people who maybe access, I think it was Elaine said that there might be people who access this that wouldn't have made it out to the vineyard, whether it's parking, whether it's social anxiety, whether a number of reasons. So, and then also, Susan talked about her conference. That's it was about 5 times as big as what it used to be. And also, I think that we can learn some new skills. Maybe we come up with, as this gets so difficult to figure out how to do it virtually, we eventually come up with something that winds up being a permanent fixture. Because I imagine anything that's online, you know, could stay there in some capacity, whether it's recording or a website. And I think that we're gonna, I think that overall, as we have to learn to do things differently across all walks of lives and entities, and what we're learning new ways to do it, but we're also learning new efficiencies we didn't realize, and we're learning better ways to do things, and we're also learning, you know, in some ways what things weren't actually necessary. And so I think hopefully, ultimately, once this is all said and done someday, we can have a much better, you know, well-rounded disability resources that are made available. So if nobody else has any comments on the topic, we can move to the next item.
I was going to ask one question. Lynn, I know that this was going to be discussed in the DD board meeting today. What was their overall, you know, summarize what they had to say?
They don't want to do a virtual event because they don't want it to fail to be accessible. And I mean, that it was maybe more nuanced conversation than that. They talked about it for quite a long time too. It's a big loss, but they were really concerned about the virtual platform. I mean, they have been since the board meeting that we had last month where we brought it up. So, you know, I sort of had a lot of hope that those would be like, yes, this could reach people that we don't reach normally. But where they ended up with the discussion was they'd like to see some innovations on a smaller scale, kind of like what you all are alluding to, like some under the banner of the expo, something virtual during this period, not necessarily on October 10th and not necessarily all 150 exhibitors and sponsors talking at people in 5 hours. So, I mean, it's, you know, we don't necessarily need any more money to do this. You've already budgeted for an expo, and the fact that we canceled the in-person expo when we did left some money unspent. So there is some room to try some innovations, but they were very concerned about what we do, like as far as making sure everyone can participate. So
yeah, just
Elaine?
Just one more thing occurred to me when we were talking about spreading it over, you know, several days. You're scheduling against all these other things being online now too. So you've got families with kids at home who are going to school online and all, so the multiple day thing would run into that too. And I'm already not doing something because of that if I'd gotten to leave town and do it, I could have done it. But to do it every day here with our son at home, I can't do it. So there's all of that too about the multiple day scheduling, unless it's something that would be recorded and people could tune in when they have the time. So.
All right, Tom, you got a question for real this time?
Just a comment. I think we need to just, if DDD people are worried about it, maybe we need to respect the wish. But what I do think we need to do is be careful not to take this over as ours. This belongs to someone. I'm not sure that it's our responsibility to resolve how this happens. If they feel like, I mean, it's a program for them, it represents them. If they don't want to do it, then they should probably, that's probably what the final solution should be. But I think we need to be careful not to try to take it over.
All right. Susan, did you have a comment?
Yes, I thought we weren't making a decision today. It appears that we're moving towards a recommendation. I don't know if the DD board took an official vote today. I just think that we go back to the drawing board. I think that it doesn't have to be October 10th or whatever date. And we ask the committee to think a little bit more innovatively and no timeline for when it happens. But I feel like I'm being pushed towards the vote, and I think that's, that's a concern. So that's all I'll say.
Well, I had not expected to need to ask you all for approval because we don't have any choice about the in-person. That is way over all of our authority. That, the state is not going to be ready to do an in-person event. So all of the discussion about what could be done instead is very helpful. And I think if we can afford it and if it sounds like most board members are interested, I thought we could just experiment with virtual platforms. If you would prefer to have a formal discussion and to approve a decision, I think that should probably be a joint meeting with the DD board.
I think we should now kick it back to the committee and let them come up with what they come up with and see what happens. We also have a longer agenda here that we have to deal with. I'm getting worried about the time.
Well, I very much appreciate your thoughts on it. It is important, and this is never expected that we'd have a pandemic putting us in this position. I don't even know what to do procedurally about this. So thank you for your thoughts and your comments on it.
All right, that was fun. Next on the agenda, we have the Mental Health Board fiscal year 2021 draft budget. Lynn, did you have any comments you wanted to make on that?
I sent you out some information that's from the county about an expenditure that we didn't plan for. That's the ERP system. And so that's one of the things that we're going to need to revise in a future version of this budget. Chris and I will meet with the county executive and the deputy director of finance on Friday for other revisions. There may be an upward projection of your revenue, which is great news. There may also be a downward projection of the health insurance cost. So those are three things that I know we'll need to revise in the budget. But if you all are comfortable with the budgets as presented here today, I would value initial approval of just like of this step, so that when we go to the next step, which involves the county, I know that you all are satisfied with the direction so far. If you're not, that's okay, because we have to bring you revisions anyway. But you've already made some decisions to spend quite a bit of this money on the contracts with agencies. And so I thought a good next step is to confirm the rest of the direction. So do you have specific questions that you want to talk about?
It says some of the benefit contracts aren't complete yet.
Right.
How much of a variance are we talking though?
I don't know yet. It's going to go down a little bit. Is that in the main paragraph, like the first paragraph?
Memo on the second.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, there's always a change in the benefits cost because they don't finish negotiating those till later in the year. But right now they think health insurance will be a little bit lower. So
and that's just for the MHB staff.
Yeah, the way that this, yeah. So
it's not going to be that much money then, would it be whatever the variance would be?
No, it's not going to fully fill the ERP expense. We'll have to find that money elsewhere. I don't think we'll be doing a lot of travel next year. So that's, there's probably more that we can move. Remember that we constructed this budget during a time when, people were even less certain about predictions of what's coming next. I didn't want to sound real negative, but I am. I don't think we're going to be doing a lot of conferencing. So, or at least not in person. So those kind of things might change as well.
Anybody have any questions or comments? All right, so do we need to take action?
There are two different suggested motions. I'm going to mute myself and put the chart back up.
So there's a motion to approve the current budget for 2021 with anticipated revenues and expenditures of $5,799,576, and then also the motion for the SILA budget. Does anybody want to do a motion for the budget draft? Tough crowd.
Sure.
Elaine.
I will move to approve the attached 2021 mental health budget with anticipated revenues and expenditures of $5,799,576.
Is there a second?
Second, Susan.
All right, is there any discussion? All right, roll call.
Joe Omosagie. Joe? Joe Omosagie?
Yes, I'm sorry.
Okay. Susan Fowler?
Yes.
Tom Moore?
Yes.
Elaine Palencia?
Yes.
Kyle Patterson?
Yes.
Julian Rappaport?
Yes.
Jane Sprandel?
Yes.
John Paul Joachim?
Yes.
All right. Next agenda item is the UIUC evaluation capacity proposal. And this is
Well, there's also a SILA budget.
oh no.
Yeah.
Point of order. Do I have a motion for the SILA budget?
I'll make a motion to approve the 2021 SILA fund budget with anticipated revenues and expenditures of $72,000. Payment to this fund consistent with the terms of the intergovernmental agreement between the two boards. Full approval contingent on developmental disability board action.
I second it.
Second by Joe. Is there any discussion on this item? Roll call.
Susan Fowler,
Yes.
Tom Moore,
Yes.
Elaine Valencia,
Yes.
Kyle Patterson,
Yes.
Julian Rappaport,
Yes.
Jane Sprandel,
Yes.
John Paul Joachim,
Yes.
Joe Omo Sagie,
Yes.
All right, moving on to the next item. It's a Illinois evaluation capacity proposal. This is a decision memorandum. So did you have anything you want to say about this one?
This is Mark. I can speak to it a little quickly, Kyle. This is a long-standing relationship that we have with Dr. Allen and Neighbor to do program evaluation. It supports a portion of their time, a small portion of their time, and then primarily the involvement of some graduate students to assist our agencies with program evaluation. It's a benefit both to the board and to other funders related to improved outcome measurement, but also internal to the agencies in terms of them having a better understanding of the impact their services are providing and how changes to those services benefit or not those they serve, and then essentially can adjust services accordingly. We were able to have a Zoom committee meeting with Tom Moore and Julian Rappaport, as well as the UI evaluation team and other Lynn, myself, and Kim Baudry and others participating. So, but the proposal itself is essentially the same as it's been for the last several years. It does involve the Developmental Disabilities Board starting last year. One change is to provide increased support to agencies that have been a targeted program in the past. So there'll be fewer new targeted programs, but additional support to some select targeted programs from the past to help them move on, continue to make progress in their evaluation. And the Developmental Disabilities Board did approve their portion of the contract earlier this afternoon.
All right. Does anybody have any? Tom?
I was going to make a motion.
Let's hear it.
Yeah. Move to accept the University of Illinois Capacity Building Evaluation Year 6 proposal and authorize the executive director to enter into a contract with the University of Illinois at a cost of $80,198 contingent upon the Champaign County Developmental Disability Board's participation, offsetting the contract amount by $33,803.
Is there a second?
I second.
Joe for the second. Is there any discussion of this topic? All right, roll call.
Did John second or did Joe second?
Joe.
Joe. Okay, sorry.
Elaine Valencia,
Yes.
Kyle Patterson,
Yes.
Julian Rappaport,
Yes.
Jane Sprandel,
Yes.
John Paul Joachim,
Yes.
Joe Osagie,
Yes.
Susan Fowler,
Yes.
Tom Moore.
Yes.
All right. Next agenda item is 211 information and referral. This is a decision memorandum as well on the increase in annual shared costs with United Way and a new contract with United Way and the service provider included in the packet. All right. Yes, proper way. What page is this on? Page 34.
Well, I'll make a motion to
Yeah.
get the thing started here, to authorize the executive director to enter into an updated memorandum of understanding with the United Way of Champaign County for 211 service.
I
There's Susan, maybe Elaine.
Second.
All right. Is there any discussion?
Do we know how often the 211 line is used?
Well, since COVID started, they've had an enormous increase. I think I'm not dreaming when I say 800% increase in calls, but I could be mixing that up with something else, but I think that's right. And like, you know, because they are an information and referral service, and all of a sudden people need resources who've never had to look for resources before. So it's nice they can reach a trained professional. The increased demand can't be met by adding more trained professionals. So there's some work happening by the University of Illinois Community Data Clinic to develop a website version of this, which could be used by case managers. So for right now, there's not a suggestion to expand the phone service contract. So there's not a huge change in cost from one year to the next. I do think there's recognition that the service could take on more and do more stuff, like participate with the National Suicide Lifeline, but we're not asking to make any of those moves quite yet. This is sort of holding steady. But yes, they have had huge increases. In the last month board packet, I think the data we provided for you were from the first quarter. So they actually just included the beginning of the COVID-19 calls. It will be really interesting to see the second quarter report, but unfortunately we don't have it for you right now.
Lynn, just to clarify, you said that they're not able to handle the increase in volume, and that's a issue with their phone system. That's not a staffing issue.
It's a staffing issue. No, it's a staffing issue. But I think that it's not even possible to staff up that fast, because these people are certified by the Alliance for Information Referral Services. So there's a whole process. I think they're just hoping to hold steady. 211 is a service in many other parts of the country it's a United Way project. And in some communities, it's pretty robust. So I think what
was the referral thing you mentioned?
AIRS? Oh.
So some type of licensure?
Yeah. It's Mark, do you know, I think I got that right. AIRS, right? Alliance for, the Alliance of Information and or the Association of Information Referral Specialists or something like that? If
Yeah,
Mark,
yes. It's a national accreditation entity.
Yes.
So all 211 systems have to meet those standards. So, and Path in Bloomington has, been a 211 system for quite some time. And they're expanding, they've been expanding throughout the state. I will just add the nature of 211. The pandemic, it's the original intent of 211 systems, that it proved itself in Connecticut after 911, that 211 existed in the state of Connecticut but not in New York. And after after 9/11, a lot of people were calling the 211 system in Connecticut to get information about services and help and that after that catastrophic event. And that's really what brought the concept of 211 to the forefront. So, and it is designed to respond to crises. Again, I don't know that the pandemic is not, you know, something we've experienced or they've experienced before. So it's really testing the system, but they are managing, I think. And as Lynn said, it will be very interesting to see the change in call volume historically from where it's been in the past to where it is right now for the last, certainly for the last quarter.
So I guess my question was, Lynn, I think you said that they can't handle the volume, but they're not able to staff up because, so does the licensure, like, is that something that takes a while for them to, or the certification?
Well,
a long time to do.
I don't know. I'm not really sure what the issue is. Like, you know, maybe like money. Like they've lost one of their major funders, and so they may not really know how they're going to add staff from that perspective either. But, you know, all of a sudden then an alternative that some of us have been talking about for a long time becomes very appealing, which is a website, so that case managers can look through the 211 database and help people, so that you're not just waiting for someone on the phone. So, you know, I don't know, maybe Mark knows about the plan that the organization has for meeting the need if it continues to be so elevated. I haven't heard that they plan to add people at all.
It's my understanding that they do rely on volunteers.
Okay.
And, you know, that the PATH as an organization actually has a small paid staff, and that they rely on volunteers, and that those volunteers have to be trained and certified. Mm-hmm. And part of that training is in suicidology. So they're all, you know, trained to respond to a person in mental health crisis. You know.
Right. Okay.
Susan?
I'd like to close discussion and move the motion.
All right, and I don't think there's any more comments anyways. We do a roll call. Well, did we do the motion yet?
There was a motion.
That was a motion.
Okay.
But there are two motions on this memo too. So this is about.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you want the motion read? Did someone say that?
I don't think we need to reread it.
Okay, Susan Fowler?
Yes.
Tom Moore?
Yes.
Elaine Valencia?
Yes.
Kyle Patterson?
Yes.
Julian Rappaport?
Yes.
Jane Sprandel?
Yes.
John Paul Joachim?
Yes.
Joe Omosagie?
Yes.
Does somebody want to move the next motion?
Next motion to approve annual total cost of $21,330 to be shared with the CCDDB as described and subject to future adjustments per terms of a new memorandum of understanding.
I'll second.
Is there any discussion? Seeing none, roll call.
Tom Moore,
Yes.
Elaine Valencia,
Yes.
Kyle Patterson,
Yes.
Julian Rappaport,
Yes.
Jane Sprandel,
Yes.
John Paul Yuki,
Yes.
Joe Omosage,
Yes.
Susan Fowler,
Yes.
You guys are waiting on me. I was sitting there just on somebody to take charge. All right.
No, it's you.
The next item is the anti-stigma film, Event 2020. And this is just a briefing memorandum. Somebody.
We have an update. We were reached out to probably 2 days ago regarding the film, and so they are looking at the week of July the 24th through the 30th for potential activities. And so we're still ironing out the details of the panel. And then there's actually going to be an opportunity to, after the panel, to just have community members kind of talk with the actors and the people about their programs and what they did. So that will happen after the film. And so we're still ironing out the agenda and the details, but just so we wanted to make sure that we communicated to the board that it is still a go and we have confirmed dates. And so the way that it will be done is that the film will be open for people to be able to review it for over about 2 or 3 days. And then on the day of the Q&A, it'll be about an hour long. And then after that will be community groups with selected people. So that's the update about that. And as we get the links and the promotional materials, we will make sure we pass that on to you.
So we're getting a little bit of experience with virtual events. There was one at the end of June, and now this is focused on us. So hopefully we can report back to you in September about a positive virtual experience.
Anybody have any comments, questions? All right. Next agenda item is schedules and allocation process timeline. Anybody? I mean, this is just a discussion item, correct? Does anybody have any comment on that? Anything out of the ordinary that we should be mindful of? All right. Next on the agenda is the Developmental Disabilities Board information. Was there anything that you want to discuss, Lynn?
They met at 3:30 today, and they approved the parallel 2-in-1 agreement, U of I agreement, and budget, the Stilla budget, to yours. They also had a very long discussion about the expo with, gosh, I'm sitting here thinking it'd be really interesting to see what you all would come up with together, but that's for another time. So anyway, those were the main topics of discussion. There was one contract that we needed to talk about because DD services are hit in a very different way with this COVID. Like there's really not a lot of great ways to provide services to people other than in person. Some of the virtual platforms that were serving people initially are great, and we'll keep using those, but the majority of this work really does rely on in person. So you know, I think all of us are struggling with what are we going to do in our worlds, and so, you know, maybe their pressures are kind of like yours. Like, how do we do mental health virtually? So anyway, that's all.
All right, next is the approval of the Mental Health Board minutes of June 17th, 2020. Is there a motion?
I move to approve the board meeting from June 17th, 2020.
Second.
All right, second.
I'll second it.
Julie, second. Any discussion, any alterations? All right, roll call.
Julian Rappaport,
Yes.
Jane Sprandel,
Yes.
John Paul Joachim,
Yes.
Joe Omosage,
Yes.
Susan Fowler,
Yes.
Tom Moore,
Yes.
Elaine Palencia,
Yes.
Kyle Patterson,
Yes. Right, the next, the staff reports, which are as normal in the packets. I don't know if there's anything that the staff wanted to highlight out of that.
Yeah, I just wanted to highlight in my report that I began to do a snapshot of our history regarding cultural competency and how we as a decision-making body have, as the Mental Health Board and DD Board has gone through the process of addressing racism and looking at health disparities, mental health disparities. And so in my report, I provided you with a snapshot and also a resource list. And I wanted to make sure that I pointed your attention to the foundational information on page 59. The supplement mental health report of the Surgeon General that actually looked at race, ethnicity, and mental health. And then also the national class standards, which is what we are utilizing now to continue to move the work forward. And so here are some articles, and also to begin looking at how we can begin to look at, they're talking that mental health, racism is actually becoming a public health issue. And so I wanted to make sure that I began starting to report about that in addition to the work that I'm doing. So Tom
Thank you.
Susan had her hand raised. Tom?
This is Susan. I just wanted to commend you, Chandra, for the resources that you've provided and for the snapshot. It's very helpful. And we've been on the board about the same amount of time, and it's great to see the progress that we're making and to have some more resources to look at. So thank you.
You're welcome.
I absolutely agree. It was really informative and fun to actually follow your timeline and your report. So thank you.
Tom had his hand raised.
Yes, Chandra, thank you for that information, because I think we're at a critical point in our history. I just heard the great-great-great-grandson of Sally Hemings talking about his great-great-grandfather, Thomas Jefferson, today. And there's a quote about that Thomas Jefferson makes on the wall that we might all want to look at. He said, you got to pay attention to changes, because you can't expect the person to be able to wear the same coat that he wore when he was a kid when he's an adult. And I think that we are faced with a very important period in our history in this business of racism and its effect on Black and white people is pretty critical to understand. And I think for the mental health board to take this on, I think is courageous, as well as it's the very right thing to do. This was so important. The president of the Dallas Federal Reserve Board said, if we don't do something about this racism, he said, it affects our gross national product. So when you got these guys worried about stuff, it's time to really pay attention. And I think that you folks have stepped up really well at this. And I'm really 100% behind you pushing this, because we have a public statement to make. And I'm glad we're getting in the water, making that statement.
Thank you.
But thank you, Chandra, for this work. Obviously, this is really important. I mean, I guess now you get to say you were talking about this before it was cool. But I mean, this, yes, absolutely, it affects, structural racism affects every aspect of society. Like Tom said, it does have a ripple effect. A lot of the people that utilize our programs, a lot of our programs are geared towards people from the lower socioeconomic brackets. Obviously, that's something that disproportionately affects people of color. And I think it's just really important that we do this type of work, because it's more than just, I think it's like people are starting to realize that racism is more than burning a cross. That there's subtleties, that there's Black bias, particularly social services, mental health services are not devoid of that. And I think that the work that Chandra has done in working with agencies on cultural competency and working to make them, help to make people aware and more, prepared to approach things in a better way has been really important. And just thank you for doing that work.
And then I also, just the journal that was to the Journal of Black Psychology. I just wanted to make sure that I put this in here and included this. This was a part of the work of the storytelling project that I participated on. And so this was produced in that journal. So I just wanted to let you all know that as well. That's it.
All right. Board to board reports. Anybody?
I was at the Criminal Justice CIT meeting with Mark, and I suggest you read Mark's little paragraph on it. It's quite interesting to realize how few people cause most of the, so much of the CIT interventions. A relatively small number of human beings are taking up lots and lots of time, and the movement toward having a place for people to go that would be an alternative to prison or jail or arrest or whatever is moving along. I think maybe we'll get there. Anyway, I think I would suggest reading Mark's little paragraph there, just so you know what's going on.
Anybody else? All right, expenditure list.
Tom had his hand raised, Kyle.
I think I jumped the gun. I was making a motion to adjourn.
Second.
It's the most exciting part of the meeting.
Make a motion to approve the expenditures.
There we go. So you get a second. All right, second, Tom Moore. Roll call.
John Paul Joachim,
Yes.
Joe Omosage,
Yes.
Susan Fowler,
Yes.
Tom Moore,
Yes.
Elaine Valencia,
Yes.
Kyle Patterson,
Yes.
Lynn Rappaport,
Yes.
Jean Sprandel.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear who made the motion. It doesn't probably matter, but I didn't get it.
Susan.
Oh, okay.
Well, I actually said, Tom, make the motion, and he seconded it. So it's okay. I'll say I made the motion.
Okay. I will make that real over here too.
All right. Board announcements. Anybody have any announcements? All right. I do want to take a second to thank the different agencies who have been able to reform the way they do things and adapt in such a crazy time that we live in. As I mentioned earlier, a lot of our agencies work with people who are low income, people who are very vulnerable. As the government's had an unprecedented response to this, a lot of supports have been put in place. There's been a lot of relief that's put out there. But unfortunately, there are people who fit into certain categories who fall between the cracks. And a lot of the agencies we work with those people and are having to do more work with less access and, a really hectic time. And I just want to just share some appreciation for the different agencies, and particularly for Courage Connection and races in particular, at a time when we know that this, particularly the stay-at-home aspect of it's exacerbated domestic relationships. So we know that they're really putting up with a lot of workflow. So I just wanted to recognize that. And if nobody has any board announcements, we're adjourned.
Amen.
Okay, see you guys in 2 months.
Hey, you guys have fun. Take care.
Have a good night.
Good night.